Hello, this is a video on how to install R and RStudio, and the instructions are going to be given, and please follow along. You may want to install R, and that you can go to the R project website and install it. If you have a Mac, the option is to choose R for Mac X and download then the package. And once downloaded, you just follow the instructions. It's very easy. I already have it installed on this computer, so I don't want to reinstall. Just go to the website, click the option for Mac and install it. For Windows, if you're on a Windows, choose the option R for Windows and click then on base and download R 3.6 for Windows. Once downloaded, open the package and you just then follow the instructions. So this is R. The one we're going to really use in class is going to be RStudio. It's really friendly, and you can see then the data, the variables you just have open, and also a command line where you type commands or have your own little code in a special script that's going to have a name .r. That's going to be your code instruction saved as a .r file. And we do that by installing RStudio. So you should just go to the RStudio download page, scroll to the bottom, and download RStudio 1.25033 for Mac, and this one Exe for Windows. And when you just download, it's going to be, you have it as a package, hit it, follow the instructions, and you just hit next, 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 and you should be able to install it, no problem. So if you just go to the website, you should find the packages for, there's some for Windows and there's also some for Mac. In this particular case, sorry about that. I think I just moved by accident. The first one that gave us the option of the first one was the one you wanted to download. Yeah, download instructions for Mac. And then Windows was further down. Anyway, once you have it installed, the RStudio is going to look like this. So let me just open RStudio. Is just going to look then like a little command here, RStudio. And RStudio looks like this. I already had a little file open for something I was working on. So this is the code I was writing in R, and you will learn how to do all this. This is all written by me. You can kind of go here and make this a little bigger so that you see this is the file where you type stuff. You just type stuff here. Of course, he's not going to recognize this. If you try to run it, highlight, run it, he's going to say error, type stuff. I don't know what that means, of course. But we're going to start entering things that R understands, and that's what you're going to learn in class. So this is the window where you put all your code. You can type the code here as well. Type code. Of course, he's not going to know what that means. And he's going to say again, mistake. But you can, when you type things here, it's interactively running R. When you have variables open, they will be here. And files in your directory will be here. Any plots you generate will be here. Any packages that you may want to install, you can click them and it installs for you. Help on stuff will be here. And so this is kind of like RStudio for you. And I'm going to give you an example here on how to do something with the daily assignment for a class I teach. This is the undergraduate class, and to do this daily assignment, it's called da.r, and I changed something, so he wants me to save my changes. I just saved it. Every time you want to write a comment and don't want R to run it, you put this hashtag and then you type this is a comment. And so this will then not be read as a command. And it's very nice to kind of comment your code a lot so that you can then know what every line was doing. So the first thing we do when we just say what this is the daily assignment by me. And when you know a little bit more R, you should come back to this and see a little bit more of the things that I'm doing below here. R needs to be given some help to create things, to compute averages, to plot. And those help or those additional tools are called packages. So the first, if you know what you're going to do, you should install the packages you need. So how do you know which packages you need? One thing you can go to Google and say, what packages do I need to download or install to do something in R? So you literally just go to Google and say, what packages do I need to compute averages in R? And then it will just tell you, you need to, it just tells you what calculate R's, the averages. And it will probably tell you here you need are part of the R base package. So actually you don't need to install anything. This is part of the base packages. But if you need to do something more sophisticated, you may need some more fancy packages. But if another way to know which packages you need is look at someone else's existing code that's very well documented. For example, we are going to read an Excel file. So you need to install a package that says read Excel. In order to do that, highlight the line you want to run and just hit run. And then it's installing. If it goes back to this prompt, you're all set. If you want to plot something, you may want to install Ggplot too. The GSI is going to go over a lot of these things with you. And then another package you may want to use, and this is, come back to this later when we learn a little bit more about R, is this additional package, Site. All right. So once we install the packages, now we need to call them. We need to load them into this software we just write, or this code we're just writing. So we just call library and then the name of the packages we just installed. So they're all installed. All right, so we're ready to start doing something. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure you change into the directory. For example, we're going to read an Excel file. So let's change into the directory where that file is that you want to read. In this particular case, my directory is in my computer in Dropbox in the folder for Spring 22 in the daily assignment 1. And in this particular case, daily assignment 1 of lecture 1. So if you highlight this, it's going to change into the relevant directory. So I'm in this directory now. So now I can read in the data. The data that I'm going to read are called opec.xlxx. And I'm just going to use that package that I just loaded, read Excel. And so if you highlight, that file is going to be read into an object that's going to be called my data. If I wanted to call it something else, then you call something else, assign it with this arrow pointing that way, read Excel. And then you just say what you're reading from, opec.xlsx. And if you highlight this, now something else is going to be created. Could not find read Excel. Oh, it's only one else. Sorry about that. Let me just save it. So what happened when I read my data? When I read the data into something called my data, it created that something. It's going to be, it's 7 observations and it has 3 variables. That's what it was loaded into R. Something else is what I called when I read it again. So I have something else here too. So I have this object. How do I see it? Hit it, just hit on it. And so you see that when you load these data into R, The first column of the original OPAC data set is the countries' names. It has 7 observations, so there's 7 countries in the data. The first column is capacity. The second column is called marginal cost. And if you just want to close this to go back, or you just go back to the code, leave this open, you can close it. My data is also has the exact same thing. I called it something else, but so you can look at your data like that, or you can just show me the head. So show me the top of my data set, and it typically puts the first row. Since the data set is so short, it gives you all the rows. Actually, it gives 6 rows. The top is just 6. You could also look at the bottom, and that's tail. So if you tail, let's tail something else now. Tail something else. R is really smart. If you start typing something that it recognizes, it gives you already that option. So this is just to print in this output thing, the bottom part of the data set. In this particular case, it's the bottom of the data set. All right. So this is how you install RStudio, and this is how you just look at your data set. Another thing you can do is just describe the whole data set. It just creates basic summary statistics of my data. And you can see in the output there, it created, the one is just countries, it has nothing here. And then capacity, it's an average capacity of 4,814. The countries were numbered from 1 to 6. That's why it's creating an average of 4, because the number of countries was numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instead of the names there. And then marginal cost, the average is 11.45 with a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 20. So it just gave you some summary statistics. What if I want to create a scatter plot of the data? Just look at the capacity in the y-axis and marginal cost in the x-axis, or vice versa. Then we use a package that makes these graphs. In this particular case, we're using Ggplot. It's one of the packages. And if you don't know what to write, you can always put help Ggplot, and it will basically, oops, if you go to help Ggplot, it says the first thing you have to do is data equal. So you have to put the name of the data, in this particular case, data equal to my data. And then you have to put close that bracket plus, and then you start giving all these options that are in this help thing. But I already created some of the commands here for you. I'm plotting from the original data set. It's called my data. What I need is the X is going to be capacity. The Y is going to be marginal cost. It's telling what colors to use. The title, the label of the X label plus the label of the Y label plus the title of the graph. And then you just, so you're creating this plot and you're calling this plot scatter data. And if you just run this, nothing happened. You're just creating it. To show it, you then need to call it and make it plot as an output. So if you just run this, then the plot is going to show up as one of your plots here. All right, this is a very simple introduction to how to install RStudio and open a data set and create a scatter plot from an existing command that someone wrote about a scatter plot. More is going to come in the class, and I hope this is something that at least get you started and not being afraid of RStudio. Well, we changed a lot of things, so you can just hit save of the things you did. And if you want to save it as something else, you could also say file save as, and you can save the R code as something else. All right. Thank you.